What is going on? Excuse me. Woo, I lost my voice there. Excuse me. Hello, everyone. It is me again. It's HorrorFan34, and welcome to another video, and welcome to another review for the 31 Days of Horror Challenge in October. I believe we're on now day 20. Still sticking with the 80s here for this one as well. And I figured this is... Maybe people for this one might not consider this a horror film, but it does have horror elements in it. And it's like a thriller, sort of like a virus movie, pretty much. And it's a pretty cool one too, and it's pretty underrated. That I feel like not one person ever speaks about this film. And if you can tell by the title of the video already, that review was going to be on Warning Sign. Modern man, science has given him the ultimate power to create new forms of life. But with that power comes overwhelming responsibility and danger. Now, of course, this is the Scream Factory Blu-ray. Of course, it has reversible artwork, but I like this cover better. It's the original poster. I like the black background with the red warning sign and the symbol on the bottom, biohazard sort of symbol. But Warning Sign, this came out in 1985, directed by Hal Barwood, who sadly I don't think went on to direct a whole lot after this, which is a shame. And worked on a lot of TV shows, but I think he did a damn good job directing this. Now, fair warning to some people in here: if you're expecting like a big gory movie or action-packed movie or something like that, you're not going to get that with this film. Because even though this is a infected sort of like virus movie, it's not like in the vein of like a zombie movie where it's a lot of blood and guts and gore and a lot of action bits here and there, like in Dawn of the Dead or something like that. In a way, this film is sort of the predecessor to 28 Days Later, pretty much, because it's about an infection and a virus. Now, the basic idea with this film, it takes place in Utah. It's in a small town. In the very beginning, you have these group of people that are trying to do this biochemical, trying to make biochemical weapons for agriculture. And one of the guys in the very beginning is G.W. Bailey, who's one of the biochemist guys. G.W. Bailey, of course, he was in Burglar with Whoopi Goldberg. He was in the Police Academy movies. And then basically something ends up going wrong, and it gets inside a person's suit, and then there's a lockdown because of this virus. And then basically the whole thing gets shut down because they don't want anybody else contaminated, because apparently this virus, if it like infects you, then it can kind of turn you into these ravage, killers, pretty much. Sort of like in the vein of like 28 Days Later, where you have like this virus, if it infects someone, it turns them into these killers, sort of like an infected movie. And this is kind of more of a slow burn version of that movie. And then it's in the present time, and then you have the facilities on lockdown. You have the new sheriff in town, played by Sam Waterston, who was the husband in Serial Mom with Kathleen Turner. He's the sheriff in this, and his wife is Kathleen Quinlan, which is her right here on the back. Kathleen Quinlan she was Kurt Russell's wife in Breakdown. She was in Event Horizon, a lot of other stuff. So basically, he has to try to figure out how to help his wife and the people in this lockdown. At the same time, there's these army people that are headed by this major, played by Yaphet Kotto, who was in The Running Man and Alien and Eye of the Tiger with Gary Busey. May he rest in peace. I miss Yaphet Kotto. And then basically from there, it says it right here, on the back, like there's a bioweapon that turns anyone exposed into a killer. It gets locked down the facility. And then the sheriff is sort of like, kind of stuck in this situation where he has to choose between keeping the town safe from this virus, but also at the same time rescue his wife, played by Kathleen Quinlan, who's trapped inside with all these people in there. And, it kind of becomes like a race against time, pretty much. Now, what really makes this film work is the cast. First off, the cast in this is great. Sam Waterston as the sheriff, I thought he was fantastic. I really enjoyed Kathleen Quinlan as his wife. I thought she did a good job in this. Yaphet Kotto, always really great to see Yaphet Kotto in there. Also in the film too, you have Jeffrey DeMunn, who was in the original Hitcher and the Blob remake. He's in here. You have Richard Dysart from, I think, John Carpenter's The Thing. He's in here. The musical score in this is especially well done by Craig Safan. That's a guy who's worked on a lot of movies. He worked on the score for Fade to Black with Dennis Christopher. He worked on Elm Street 4. You look up his composing filmography for like music. He's done a lot of great stuff over the years, Craig Safan. And the DP of this film was actually Dean Cundey, who works a lot with John Carpenter on a lot of his movies. And I thought it was very well directed by Hal Barwood. It's easily like one of my favorite like 80s movies like of all time. It's like one of the most underrated 80s films of like of period, you know. I like the whole idea, this cool idea where this virus can like, you know, turn people into raging killers, and you know, if you get infected by it, and then it's a pretty crazy idea, like sort of like in the vein of like the Crazies, sort of like in a way. Has like a little bit of like the Crazies vibe mixed with like, you know, 28 Days Later, like that sort of like thing, but it's kind of more of an implied movie rather than blood and guts. Like this is more of a horror film but mixed with like a thriller aspect. Like it's kind of like a heart racing thriller rather than like blood and guts. But I think it works really, really well though, because granted, you know, it works with blood and guts, like with 28 Days Later it's bloody, or you know infected movies like that, but this here proves that you can do that without blood and guts. And overall, this is just one of those underrated 80s gems that I just highly recommend. The musical score is extremely creepy in areas. Really like the cast. You know, Kathleen Quinlan, Yaphet Kotto, Jeffrey DeMunn, Richard Dysart, Sam Waterston. You know, Hal Barwood did a great job. I wish he would have directed more, but sadly he didn't. You know, overall, I mean, this is an underrated gem that I highly recommend. Warning Sign. So that's pretty much it for my review for Warning Sign. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.